Blue Lock's ongoing arc, the new Egoist League, introduced one of the most interesting twists of the story. Alongside a bidding system, televised matches, and fighting to play, our favorite Egoists would be training under their favorite professionals. In today's video, we're going to be ranking these new Egoist League masters not by their individual talent, but by the coaching ability and impact on their players. If you watched through today's video and would like to support me, make sure to click that subscribe button, comment below your thoughts, and even join my community Discord to interact with me directly. Without further ado, let me explain why being a good player does not translate into being a good coach, and stick around for a special guest later in the video. Spain's very own Lavinho was an immediate fan favorite from his initial appearance, mainly due to his charisma and free-spirited approach to the sport. This wasn't just on the field, but also off the field with his extremely goofy and carefree attitude. Although being a hilarious figure in the series, when evaluating his impact as a coach, we can see that Lavinho just doesn't quite have the maturity or proper mindset to excel. Lavinho's way of coaching is centered on the aesthetic and expressive elements of football, encouraging his players to embrace creativity, improvisation, and personal expression on the pitch. Lavinho's coaching approach is heavily focused on individual flair, but this mindset often comes at the cost of strategic depth and structure. As a result, FC Barca frequently struggles to compete against more tactically organized opponents, and they have lost every match so far. Lavinho's lack of strategy often leaves his players ill-equipped to handle the complexities of high-pressure matches. When it comes to who joined FC Barca and their development, Bachata is basically the only player to have significant growth. Bachata has always been a bit of a wild card, with that monster inside of him driving his playstyle. However, he went into the N.E.L uncertain of his future as a player and that monster. Lavinho saw a spark, however, and fanned the flame, encouraging Bachata to lean into his instinctual, unpredictable style. We witnessed this to have clearly worked, as Bachata became a more refined dribbler and all-round independent threat with that Ginga X monster combination inspired by Spain. Aside from Bachata though, the rest of FC Barca didn't quite grow or reach the same new heights. Atoya may have shown some flashes of brilliance, but beyond that, he didn't really develop anything major or grow as a player and got put into a passing role. Lavinho also took in some of the former Japan U20 players after their loss to Blue Lock, so honestly there was some potential there in Durai, Hayatu, and etc. Overall, it's not really his fault due to FC Barca being used as fodder for other teams' development, but Lavinho does sadly end up at the bottom of my list, being the worst Neo-Egoist League coach we've seen. Julian Loki, the young prodigy from France, quickly became one of the most intriguing figures in Blue Lock following his demonstration in the World 5 match. His cold, calculated demeanor on and off the pitch is the exact opposite of Lavinho's carefree attitude, all coming at just 17 years old. Despite that youthful age, Loki's maturity and focus are very exceptional when compared to others near his age and even older. When we take a closer look, however, at his impact and reasons for coaching, it becomes evident that his approach is all very surface level, inexperienced, and selfish to its core. Loki's philosophy is centered around the concepts of efficiency, precision, and maximizing one's effectiveness. He pushes players to refine their technical abilities to an extreme level, with an emphasis on minimizing mistakes and maximizing output. Loki is a perfectionist to his core, expecting his players to operate at the highest level of individual performance they can. This hyper-focused approach is a bit too general, however, and often leaves little room for creativity or adaptability, which are both crucial things to grow as an all-round player. We've only seen him saying basic things such as take more accurate shots to Shidou and take more shots to Reen. Under Loki's guidance, the most notable players to thrive have been PXG's dual guns Shidou and Reen. Both of them were already known for their natural talent, however, and like I said, Loki has really only been seen giving them surface-level advice. I guess you could argue that Loki excelled Shidou by bringing along Charles, but let's be serious here. Reen's growth especially seems to be more a result of his own rather than Loki's direct intervention, because he went into the N.E.L wanting to kill Isagi and Sai. Additionally, players like Nanase have shown some improvement, but it's largely due to Reen's mentorship rather than Loki's coaching. I mean, he got into Game 3 and didn't know he was ambidextrous, and another player noticed it before their coach. The rest of PXG have sadly seen limited development, as players like Karasu, Zantetsu, and Tokimitsu haven't really grown that much. France was just meant to be a powerhouse team of already top-tier players, as Ego did state the country's philosophy to be all about money and stars. On top of that, Loki seems to only really care about developing Charles Chevalier so that he can one day surpass Noel Noa, so at the end of the day, he's barely a better coach than Lavinho. Now Marc Snuffy, the genius tactician and former Italian superstar, brings a radically different philosophy to the Neo-Egoist League. Unlike the flashy styles of Lavinho or Loki's precision-based approach, Snuffy's focus is on the harsh realities of football as a business. Known for his pragmatic and somewhat cynical view of the sport, he sees football as a means to an end, specifically a way to get that bread. His coaching philosophy is centered on discipline, teamwork, and the idea that individual talent is secondary to the collective strength. Their mindset is deeply ingrained in Ubers, who operate like a well-oiled machine on the pitch, as said by Isagi. Every player under Snuffy's guidance is drilled into understanding their role within the team, leading to a highly organized and efficient style of play. People like Nico, Ryu, Aiku, and Barou have thrived on this system, with Barou in particular embracing the role of king after throwing a temper tantrum. This rigid structure can also be a double-edged sword though, which was definitely seen in their match against Bayern Munich. While Ubers are incredibly tough to break down, their lack of creative freedom sometimes hinders players who might excel in a more fluid environment. Snuffy's approach is all about results, and while it certainly has made Ubers one of the most formidable teams in the N.E.L, it also limits the potential for individual expression. Bro was also just blinded by nostalgia due to seeing a bit of McMoon in Barou, which led to issues like Barou not playing against PXG, still being overly independent and not reliable, all that. This places Snuffy in the middle of my ranking, as his result-driven approach has both strengths and significant limitations in growing his players. To keep this video format a bit interesting, my homie and fellow Blue Lock creator Scythe will be joining us to explain who he thinks is the true number 1. At this point in the video, we only have Chris Prince and Noel Noa of course, leaving us with 2 differing options. I figured I'd allow him to speak on his mind to spice things up, and here's why he believes Chris Prince is the number 1 coach.
Chris Prince, in my opinion, deserves to be placed at the top of the ranking due to his football philosophy, as well as how he implements it in his personalised training regime for each of the players. It's a fresh and invigorating approach to coaching, like the more business and rigid structures we see from the others. It allows for each player to achieve their goals as an individual as long as they stay on Chris's plan. Prince's methodology centered around the concept of self-expression through physical abilities. It lines up with their unique style of play. Programs to help maximize the training for each player's individual strengths and weaknesses, allowing them to play in their ideal play styles. This helps maximize their potential. They are able to work on their strengths while playing their ideal style of football. This helps his players as they are able to work to create a perfect vessel to become the best. See this in a few notable and key members in his squad. Igari Hayoma, who with Chris's training and methodology, become one of the most consistent strikers in the N.E.L. His goal formula of the 44 Panther Golden Zone was helped with Chris's insight into how to help achieve the best results in Chigiri, making one of the best players at reproducing goals in the whole of the N.E.L. Another player who had experienced significant growth is Ryo Mikage, who through the tutelage of Chris was able to develop his chameleon striker mode, thus helping him become one of the most well-rounded players in the N.E.L. by helping him play in the ideal way by being a complete striker. And the third player who Chris helped go into stardom was Nagi, who had the chance to become the best striker in the N.E.L. with the help of the Dr. Agi. However, Chris wasn't able to help both Ryo and Nagi when it came down to their reliance on each other, but this is not a fault of Chris as his guidance was solid. It's only due to the fact that both Ryo and Nagi didn't listen to his advice that led to their downfall. Emphasis on physical conditioning and personalised training routines that enables England's players to push their limits and evolve their game. Chris Prince, the best overall coach in the N.E.L, as his style of training and philosophy have proven to work, as seen with Chigiri. Just because his team isn't doing well, it doesn't really reflect on his ability to coach. We see him as being the best coach as opposed to Noah, as Noel Noa's philosophy has been proven to be wrong multiple times, such as the Ubers match with him wanting to play kiyora as a substitute for Corona rather than Hiyori.
Now in my opinion, Noel Noa, the football titan from Germany and widely regarded as the best striker in the world, should also be considered the best new Egoist League coach. From the moment he was introduced, Noah's presence was nothing short of intimidating, as he was Isagi's all-time favorite and a well-known striker. His reputation alone set the tone for Bayern Munich, a team where only the most driven and egotistical players can thrive. Noah's approach to coaching is as methodical and ruthless as his playing style, focusing on nurturing his players' egos by pushing them to their absolute limits. His coaching philosophy revolves around the ideal of survival of the fittest, only allowing those who work hard to spot on the team based on their stats. He believes that in order to dominate the game, one must not only have the physical prowess, but also the mental fortitude to crush any competition. This is reflected in how he manages particularly Isagi and Kaiser, as he gave both of them the ideal environment to grow and awaken their true egos, leading to other people having the same. Noah recognized Isagi's potential for growth, and allowed him the freedom to explore and evolve his play style, even at the risk of challenging his own established ace, Kaiser. Michael ended up growing from this as well, as we found out his new true ego to be restrictive, and it's likely that Noah knew this all along. This calculated decision showcases Noah's deep understanding of his players' egos and how to manipulate them to bring out their best. He's not just molding individual talent, but is also keenly aware of how to create internal competition that fuels the team's overall development. Under Noah's guidance, Master Munich has seen significant strides in both individual and team performance. Isagi has become more tactically aware, sharpening his metavision and strategic play, while Kaiser continues to refine his already top-tier abilities, driven by the need to assert dominance. Players like Yukimiya, Corona, and Hiyori have also benefited, improving their games as they adapt to the high standards Noah has set. His focus on tactical discipline, combined with the emphasis on ego and individualism, has forged a team that is both strategically sound and fiercely competitive. A lot of people just write him off as a joke and say that Isagi is the real coach. However, I truly believe Noah to be the most competent and effective coach in the N.E.L. After all, the domino effect of his decisions can clearly be seen in every player's growth, and whether you write it off as plot or good coaching is really up to you. With that being my official rankings of the new Eagles League's best coaches, make sure to let me know down below what you agree or disagree with me on, or side. Honestly, the top 3 are pretty interchangeable. However, Chris Prince is the most realistic coach alongside Noah, so it was a pretty hard choice. If you enjoy these types of videos and would like to support the channel, please feel free to subscribe and join my community Discord down below. Make sure to also check out Sai's channel, as he currently has 2 videos up covering some of Blue Lock's light novels like Rain and Nico's. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.